Around this time, 20 to 9, Thursday morning, we catch up with our film and movie critic from Stratford-upon-Avon, James Luxford. Morning, James.
Good morning.
How's life with you?
Not too bad, thanks. Getting there, like everyone, really getting through the lockdown and looking forward to when things are a little bit more ease, but keeping safe in the meantime.
I was looking at one of your tweets earlier this week, talking about the hope of returning to the cinema one day, and you were saying, look, for you as a movie critic, it's where you are at home and at your happiest.
Yes, a lot of cinema chains have been saying what do you miss about the movie experience, and my answer to that was just simply everything. I think to people like me, and to everyone really, I think whatever your interests are, the last year and or so has been about missing the little things, and I think and the big things. To me, cinema is a huge thing in my life, and I'm just really looking forward to having them back.
Good stuff. One of those that might be in the cinema when we get back is the new Cruella de Vil movie. The trailer was released yesterday. Emma Stone is in the lead role this time.
From the very beginning, I realized I saw the world differently than everyone else. That didn't sit well with some people. But I wasn't for everyone. I guess they were always scared that I'd be a psycho. I am woman. Hear me roar.
Oh, love it. Okay. Cruella de Vil now with Emma Stone. Previously, James, we'd seen Glenn Close, hadn't we, in that role? This is a prequel, though, isn't it, to those movies?
Yes, it's very much the origin story of the 101 Dalmatians character. We're not sure yet if this is kind of sort of an attempt at sort of a Maleficent different perspective on the character, which of course in Maleficent told the Sleeping Beauty story from a different side. I don't know if you can make a character who wants to do pretty terrible things to puppies sympathetic, but there are ways of sort of telling a story from a villain's character that have worked really well. I'm thinking the Harley Quinn movie, and of course Maleficent, the Star Wars prequels to an extent. So it's very interesting. I think they've made her certainly gone in a Harley Quinn direction with the way they've kind of made her a little bit punk rock,
it's set against that 70s punk rock scene, isn't it? So that's all part of the backdrop.
Absolutely, yes, and I think it's a very interesting look for Cruella de Vil in a way to sort of bring her forward. Whether or not it will work, I guess we'll find out.
Okay, 28th of May when it gets released. So a little while yet, but look out for it. Cruella de Vil, the new release. Right, let's move on to your picks for this weekend. First of all, the biopic of the life of Roald Dahl.
Yes, it's called To Olivia. It's on Sky Cinema from Friday. Hugh Bonneville plays Roald Dahl in a story about his marriage to actress Patricia Neal, played by Keely Hawes, in the aftermath of the death of their daughter, Olivia.
Spark's gone out of me, hasn't it, Dahl?
It's not just you who's lost Livy. You have to fix it before it's so broken that it can't be fixed anymore.
We all become stories in the end. Don't you think she'd like to be remembered with a happy one? One gobstopper, please.
Many people have called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory one of the finest children's books.
Do you like it?
I love it.
I rather think she would have liked it as well. To Olivia.
That sounds like a bit of a teary, weepy one, James, is it?
It really is. It's an interesting look at the life of such a well-known author. I and many others didn't know that he was married to a film star, to be honest. I really knew him from the books, and I didn't know this sort of tragic context to his life. I really liked Keely Hawes, who puts everything into her role and is sort of the heart of the story. I'm not sure we get as much of a detailed portrayal of Dahl as other biopics have done with other authors. But it is an interesting look at someone I suppose we all grow up with and all have an idea of his work, and as I say, an interesting look at a different side to a very well known name.
And if you try and draw comparisons, the Finding Alice movie of Lewis Carroll, I'm guessing are there similarities to be drawn? Can you make comparisons between the two?
Yes, I suppose. I think it's always a bit difficult with movies about authors because I think we've seen with sort of Tolkien, the biopic of the Lord of the Rings author a couple of years back, just because they've written very cinematic stories doesn't mean they necessarily led a cinematic life. I think this has all of the groundings of a good story on cinema, and it's sort of framed as a bit of a weepy and a very good cast as well.
And Keely Hawes, of course, currently can be seen in It to Sin on Channel 4. We were talking about that yesterday morning, last episode for that on Friday night. Move on to a documentary about probably the most celebrated footballer of all time.
Yes, it's Pele on Netflix from next Tuesday. It's a documentary about the Brazilian football legend as he and former teammates recall his life and his amazing career.
I can't play like the other guys.
What's wrong with not playing the way the other guys do? Show us what happens when you have the courage to embrace who you truly are.
Now is the time for Pele.
I don't know if we will win, but we will show them a beautiful game.
He certainly did, from his appearance and emergence on the stage as a teenager in 1958 at the World Cup in Sweden to that final in 1970 in the Azteca Stadium in Mexico City. Probably the most perfect performance by any one football team in any 90 minutes there. 4-1 victory over Italy in the 1970 World Cup final. And I'm guessing all of that is captured in this.
It really is, and it's a sort of mixture of archive footage and Pele himself narrating the action, and his teammates and people who knew him telling his story. I think a lot of sports documentaries can sort of gloss over the tough parts. These documentaries and these people tend to be brands as much as they are athletes nowadays, so it's tough to get something that's honest. Here it doesn't stay away from those difficulties. It looks at the pressures of fame or his political neutrality at a difficult time in Brazil's political history. It's rare to see that honesty, and also obviously complemented by all this wonderful footage from a legendary career.
Good stuff. Final pick for you, a family choice, something to watch. It's available on the iPlayer at the moment.
It's Monsters University on iPlayer now, the animated prequel to the Pixar hit about the early years of heroes Mike and Sully.
Welcome to the scare floor.
How do I become a scarer?
I'm officially a college student! Mike Wazowski.
James B. Sullivan.
Like Bill Sullivan?
He's my dad. I expect big things from you.
I just need to ace my classes, graduate with honors, and become the greatest scarer ever.
Mike Wazowski. Sorry, can't help myself. When my kids were growing up watching, we'd love as a family favourite, and it does. It's got all those Pixar elements to it, hasn't it? This.
It's great fun. It's a good Pixar story with a lot of heart and a great voice cast. John Goodman and Billy Crystal, who you heard just there, they're joined by Dame Helen Mirren, who plays the head of the university. Pixar doesn't really do prequels, so this is an interesting, fun origin story. The story behind the people we grew to love in the 2003 film.
Good stuff. Monsters University is available on the BBC iPlayer now. James, always good catching up with you. Thanks for those recommendations, and we'll speak again next week, I'm sure. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
BBC CWR's movie critic, Stratford-upon-Avon's James Luxford. It's 10 to 9.
Box sets like nowhere else with BBC iPlayer.